Hello, everyone, and thanks for stopping by the Crypto Insider channel. Today is January 2nd, 2020, and um, it's just amazing to watch all the news coming out around crypto and our favorite digital asset, XRP. I am not a registered investment advisor, certified financial planner, broker, or tax accountant. I'm not selling any investment products. I have worked in the traditional fintech space for a good 17 years, and so I try to bring a little bit of inside information into the mix when I can. And in traditional banking, this is the worst time of the year. We have a magical time on December 31st where day end meets month end meets year end. So the processing, we're going full tilt boogie on on all of our processing stuff, and we're trying to get out 1099 files, and the print shops are running 24 by 7. So lots of work to do here at the Crypto Insider compound in Austin, Texas. On the screen before you, you're going to see a donation made to Good XRP for yesterday's subscribers. The channel is really picking up, and we appreciate each and every one of our subscribers. We show that appreciation by making a small donation to @GoodXRP. They will take that donation and then break it down for each one of these charities. We have dog rescues, St. Jude's in there, veteran charity. There's a tree planting charity, I believe, in the Good Souls group. But we appreciate the work they do and the help that they give us there. Um, Today we're going to talk about price. Ripple's mainly trading sideways, and the articles are all saying what I've been saying for the past week. We're seeing resistance at the 19-cent level. Let's just go to Coinalyze and refresh. So it looks like we just dropped to 0.1899. We're seeing oversold here in the oscillators, and a lot of red on the moving averages, simple moving averages, exponential. This, I mean, a big red table like this looks bad, but I can say that it changes. We could come back in 5 minutes and see a lot of green on here in the 5 minute mark. So not too much to worry about. Flirting with 19 cents all the time, either slightly above, slightly below. Before I started recording, we were above. Let's see if we're going to hit some of the major levels. I saw some place say one of the major levels to watch for is 0.185. If we get below that, then we can see a further dip. And if we get above 0.22, then that could be a bullish signal. But really, in my opinion, we're sideways. I wanted to talk about a Yahoo Finance article, and I don't agree with the economist's assessment. Bitcoin is a pyramid scheme. But before we do, let's hop over to Investopedia. Uh, and see exactly what a pyramid scheme is, because it's a word that a lot of people throw around and may not exactly know what a pyramid scheme is. If you're new to investing, then you may not understand what people are talking about. So let's read the key takeaways from the Investopedia entry. Pyramid schemes are based on tiers where new members are at the bottom and the members at the top make the majority of the money. So each new investor is pretty much down a rung from somebody who got in earlier. The Ponzi scheme is a popular, well-known type of pyramid scheme. Multi-level marketing businesses are not typically considered pyramid schemes because they involve selling products, and there are people that have made quite a bit of money working in multi-level marketing businesses. It's not for me, I can tell you that, but yeah, it can work for them, and there's some popular companies. There was Herbalife. I want to say Herbalife was multi-level marketing, and then there was a telephone business called Excel back in the 90s. I don't think they're around anymore. And I'm not sure about things like Amway, but there are still some multi-level marketing businesses out there. And with that, the way they work is I start selling a product, and I get a few more people to start selling a product, and those people are in my downline. And every time they sell, I get a tiny bit of commission. And It's only a good opportunity if you have a good product behind it and you're good at talking people into selling it. Because most of the people you try to get selling for you in your downline are going to end up being duds that just sign up and then never do anything. And generally, uh, in addition to selling their products, they have all kinds of different levels you can get in at. You generally have to pay to get into a multi-level marketing business. So it's just something that is schemy to me, and I don't really like it, even if you can make money with it because people have. But what was interesting to me is, and when I read some of these economic articles, I can always tell how long somebody's been in the business, how long somebody's been an economist. I could, I haven't narrowed it down yet, but I could probably tell you about when they graduated and got their degree. But from Yahoo Finance, this article is by Yogita Khatri, and I don't know how to say this. Tendai Capfidzi, chief economist at NASDAQ-listed online lending marketplace LendingTree, has said that Bitcoin is a pyramid scheme. You only make money based on people who enter after you. Well, that part rings true for a pyramid scheme, based on our Investopedia definition. Cap Fidzi told Yahoo Finance in an interview published Thursday, he added that Bitcoin has no real utility. Now we're going to start to diverge a little bit because unlike the pyramid schemes that we talked about from Investopedia, Bitcoin does have utility. It's not great utility in my opinion, but people are talking about it as a store of digital assets or digital gold, they call it. But I don't think that. So when we're in the electronic space, and we're storing data. Actually, Bitcoin is actually data or an entry in an exchange that says you have this little bit of data that you can then trade based on your wallet address. When we're talking about electronic data in that regard, it doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin or Stellar or Tezos or XRP. Why would you want to store value in something that's slow and clunky? And this is the discussion. I don't want to say fight, but this is the problem I have with Bitcoin maxis. I just find myself shaking my head and saying, yes, yeah, whatever. In 30 years, you're right. People are going to want to wait 10 to 15 minutes for a money transfer to occur and 10 to 20 validations or whatever it takes for a Bitcoin transaction. That's exactly what the future folks are going to want. So at some point, I believe coins like XRP will diverge from Bitcoin and will have value that lets them stand on their own. Right now, to the great unwashed out there, XRP XRP is Bitcoin to them. If you say cryptocurrency, everything's Bitcoin, and unless they're involved in the tech space, they're not going to have any idea of the difference between Bitcoin and XRP. That's a problem we face, but it's no different than back in the day when you had competing telephone services and stuff. People would just say I have to pay the phone bill. They wouldn't say I have to pay Bell Atlantic or Verizon or MCI or any of that. But what was really stood out to me in this article is this next part. They've been trying to create a utility for it for 10 years now. It's a solution in search of a problem, and it still hasn't found a problem to solve, said Cap Fidzi. And if you remember an article from just a few days ago, this is Schwartz speak. This is CTO David Schwartz speak. He did a lot of talking about coming up with a crypto and then looking for it to solve a problem, instead of finding a problem and then trying to solve it with crypto. And so it makes me wonder if this Tendai Capfidzi is following David Schwartz or is possibly an XRP enthusiast. Bitcoin has earned many monikers in its 11 years of existence: a scam, rat poison squared by Warren Buffett. A recent, but a recent report from Bank of America names Bitcoin the single best investment of the last decade. If you invested $1 in Bitcoin at the start of 2010, it would now be worth $90,000. Last year alone, the value of one Bitcoin rose more than 85%, making it the top performing assets in the world. So you can't take this statement by Cap Fidzy, you only make money based on people who enter after you. Well, what investment is not like that? The stocks, you look at the people that were cashiers at Walmart when they first started, who got some stock. If they hodled that stock, and essentially they would now be millionaires, and some of them are, because of the value made by people entering after them, the people that saw the value of Walmart and entered the space after them. Same thing with Apple, same thing with Microsoft. Those people that were in early uh, took the biggest risk and reaped the biggest rewards. Um, so you can tell that this person's probably been an economist for a while. Um, and Bitcoin, if you've had a traditional education in finance and economics, cryptocurrency does seem scammy to you. If you graduated in the 80s, in the 90s, and you don't understand the tech space or haven't put in the effort, haven't put in the time to understand it. So there's enough time on that. Your XRP, though, is not a pyramid scheme. I can tell you that now, just based on the utility and how much people want that product. This next story is great. Ripple exec builds platform for artists to sell music for XRP and keep 100% of revenue, by Yogita Khatri. Is she the same one that did this story? Yep. Yogita putting out the articles for the Crypto Insider today, making my job easy. Thank you. Quick take. Ripple's director of product Craig DeWitt has built a platform called XSongs. The platform allows artists to sell their music in XRP and keep 100% of revenue. DeWitt told the block that he is personally funding the project and is currently not interested in monetizing it. This is great, and this is one of the reasons I love the company Ripple. If you look at, I'd like to see some of their internal memos, because look at the markets they're going after here. Outside of ODL, that's obviously their bread and butter. But once they get outside of that, they start aiming at young people. They start aiming at gaming. They're aiming at music. The place where there's a lot of opportunity for profit. Now, I don't know how they are planning to monetize this, if the artists are keeping 100% of the revenue, or if there's going to be ads or something like that. I don't know. But I'm definitely going to look into this more, because I live in Austin, Texas, which is the live music capital of the world, they call it. And I'm pretty involved in that space. In addition to traditional banking, I'm involved in music, and I meet a lot of artists and work with a lot of artists in different ways, from playing on their albums to helping hook them up with the right folks. And I've been blasting this out there on my personal Facebook page. Check out, I think, is it Coil? What do they call it? XSongs? I don't. Yeah, okay. Blockchain-based platform called XSongs, where artists can upload and sell their music directly to users for XRP. And this is kind of timely, because I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast with I think it was Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins, and he pointed out to another article that said that Pharrell, you remember that song Happy? You couldn't get away from it, that Pharrell song. That of all the streaming that it's done on Spotify, which is probably millions and millions and millions and millions of streams, Pharrell made $2,700 from Spotify for that song. And that's just terrible. You know, if you're somebody that likes music, even if you're not an artist, if you're just a music appreciation person, um, you you want to keep that space going so that you can hear new and interesting music. You can find your favorite music and favorite artists. And these companies, Spotify and Apple Music, just are not. They're the big ones, and they're not nice to these artists at all. That maybe they're maybe if you're really well known, like a Taylor Swift or somebody, you can work a better deal with them. I saw Tool recently started streaming, and they took forever to get into the streaming space, so maybe they held out for a better deal, hopefully. But we've built a wallet experience designed to allow artists to accept payments from anywhere in the world and for buyers to have that one-click experience anywhere on the web. Now that's interesting. Because it probably means the artist will get paid instantly when someone decides to buy it. So they're not waiting for Apple or Spotify to aggregate numbers, take their cut out, and then decide to graciously send a payment to that artist. It seems like it's something that's going to happen is in a one-click experience for both the purchaser of the product and the artist. So I'm hoping that that's what they're going to do. And I look forward to that. And I've been sort of heralding this to some of my musician friends, and hopefully we'll see it take off. It looks like they probably need to do some marketing, get a few big name artists on there, and then the rest will follow. This is more what I told you regarding XRP price, consolidating above the 0.185 and 0.1880 support levels. XRP could start a larger rally if it clears the main 0.200 resistance area. So if we hit 20 cents, we could see a bigger rally outside of that. But right now we're at that 19 cents. Then it goes into more technical metrics and details. The MACD is currently gaining pace in the bearish zone. Okay. So let's go back and just see if we've climbed above. No, we're still just about where we were. 0.0002 cents down from where we were when we started the broadcast here. So Bitcoin's trading sideways, or XRP's trading sideways. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is not a pyramid scheme. I just wanted to point out to you the Schwartz speak there. If you're into music or you have art to sell, I would definitely check out the X Songs by Ripple as a possible outlet for your music. And if you are into music or art or anything like that, feel free to always drop it by in the comments section. We can definitely shout out to you or your project, and we like to see what people are doing out there just as much as anyone else. I mean, if it aligns with the channels, obviously don't send me to your sex tape or anything like that. But we're not going to shout out that on the channel. But anything that's kind of artistic, family, and decent, we will certainly take a look at. But a lot of the comments, and I encourage you to read the comments on the videos unless you're driving or otherwise indisposed. Try to stop by the comments. Sometimes we get some good discussions going. A lot of comments about derivatives. Somebody asking when will the utility create a demand, raise the price of XRP to the point where we can say it's mooned. I don't have any crystal ball more than anyone else to say exactly when this will happen. Now, we showed you the liquidity bot yesterday. We showed you that it is happening. We're in the midst of it. Price hasn't caught up, quite with the liquidity yet. But I think it will, and as more institutions get on these ODL exchanges and they're competing for XRP, it has to drive the price up. And so the question was like, one of the questions on the video basically amounted to when do I think it will happen? Um, I don't know, but I can say we've got some things coming up, probably this month, regarding XRP. We're still tied to Bitcoin right now. As goes Bitcoin, so does XRP. But we definitely have some some events this month that could start or could aid the utility that we're seeing. One is going to be the Ripple lawsuit. I think it's going to be tossed out. I don't think this court's going to rule it a secure. Not a court can't rule it a security anyway. But I think Ripple's going to be cleared of selling unregistered securities. The lawsuit's probably going to end up being dismissed, in my opinion. Um, so that's one thing to look forward to. Uh, and in crypto regulation coming this year is another thing to look forward to. Clarity around what XRP is. Is it a currency? Is it a stable coin? Is it a security? Uh, Once that happens, that will tell the banks what they can do with it and how they can do it. Can they custody it? How do they report it? And it will give them all that clarity because, any financial institution, they can't really just go out and buy a bunch of any asset that there's nothing around. That they wouldn't take that regulatory risk. Um, you know, just because they have to report everything. We talked about gap reporting yesterday. They have to report everything multiple times, and then those reports are gone over by auditors, often auditors that the company themselves hires just to make sure they haven't made a mistake, and then regulatory auditors after that. So it's just too chancy to buy something that's volatile, one, and that there's no clarity around. So regulation is something that definitely we're going to keep our eye on here at the Crypto Insider channel. And the third thing is the halvening, because as I said, as Bitcoin goes, so does XRP. And the Bitcoin halvening can definitely have an effect on Bitcoin price. And we're hoping that it does. And I would say around July is probably when you're going to start seeing results from Bitcoin halvening. If it's going to go bullish, that's when it's going to be. And if it goes bullish, so does XRP, 90% of the time. Um, but that being said, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't give you an exact day or an exact time. What I'm going to say is we'll our basic investing rules, right, in anything, not just crypto. One, don't invest more than you can afford to lose in anything. Um, Two, have pre-planned entry points and exit points for your investment. And the best way to do this, if you're on Coinbase, get off Coinbase and go to Coinbase Pro. Because that's going to let you do market orders. So if we're in a descending pattern, you want to buy some at one point. Well, not you. Remember, I'm not giving investment advice. Let's use me as an example. I want to buy some at one point along the descending line. I want to buy a little more at the second point and a little more at the lowest point. So let's say I'd have 3 entry points buying more XRP as we go down the descending resistance line. This way, you get the most XRP. You dollar cost average in it at the lowest amount. You get more at the lowest amount. Now, you may never hit that bottom line. That's fine, but you put your market orders out there anyway. Then the same thing with your exit points when it rises. Figure out what you're looking to achieve with your investment, what sort of financial goal you're looking to achieve, and if that line starts to go up, You cash out a little bit at this level, a little bit at the next level, and a little bit at the highest level. Maybe there's 4 or 5. I'm just saying 3 because it's easier for the sake of discussion. But for you, maybe you have 12 different points. So depending on how complex you want to make your strategy, but I suggest going to Coinbase Pro because it will let you do market orders. If you are just waiting for XRP to moon, and then you want to log into the exchange and start selling, that's not a good idea, and I don't advise that at all. I wouldn't do it because what we saw, if you were around for the bull run of 2017, and you were on Coinbase or Kraken or a lot of these exchanges, you saw all these zeros pop up like, oh, I have this much money and I'm going to convert it to fiat right now. So you log in and you try to execute a trade and the app crashes. There's so much traffic to the exchange, to their websites and stuff, that it brings it down. And so you end up losing out and not being able to sell at the price that you wanted to. And those exchanges will not satisfy you for that loss. It's not like they're going to say, oh, we're sorry you couldn't get into our website. We'll pay the difference between when you wanted to sell it and when you did sell it. That's not going to happen. So that's why I suggest using something that will let you do market orders or limit orders instead of just logging in when it happens and trying to sell some of your cryptocurrency, because it can swing rather significantly. If you're at an all-time high and you have to wait a day or two because the exchanges are just nuts, you can end up losing out on a lot of potential profit just because of an exchange's technical difficulties. So there's a bit of strategy. You can employ it if you want. You don't have to. It's the way I like to do things. Just because I've seen it happen. And these are things you learn as you're in the crypto space for a long time. And when we talk about when is XRP going to moon, I will tell you this bit of information. I got in the space, I created this channel this month in December. There's a reason why I got into it this month. I've been around XRP for a long time. Since the bull run, I had a little bit then. XRP caught my attention. I waited out that whole descending resistance. My buy-in is somewhere around 0.25%. I waited years just watching this descending trend, but I got back into it now. I can't tell you exactly why. It's a little bit of a hunch, and it's also a little bit that the price got so low that I said, I've got to possibly. I had FOMO in reverse, seeing the price go down. So I was like, I got to get in and get some at this price, just because I know about Ripple from working in the fintech industry, and I know the possibility of a crypto bull run and what it can do, because I was around for Ethereum and I was around for Bitcoin. I didn't always make the best decisions. You learn as you go. I remember selling I think Ethereum for $9. Saying, "Oh, I made some money. I'm going to sell it." So I did that. I didn't sell it all at $9 because, like I said, you have different points picked out, and you don't want to be that person that sells XRP at 50 cents and then it goes up to $14. You don't want to do that. So it's important to have a strategy, and it's kind of easy to, in my opinion, to get complacent when you're just hodling and hodling and hodling and stacking up your bag, not really having an exit plan. So in any investment, not cryptocurrency, what I'm going to look for is, how do I get in? What points do I get in? What points do I get out? So I think that's all good advice, and I think we're running along in this video. See, I tend to bloviate, and I like to keep my videos around 10 to 20 minutes because I realize that I shouldn't be the only one consuming your listening real estate time. So 10 to 20 minutes is the sweet spot for me to give you time to listen to anyone else in the space that you may like that could have differing opinions. So thanks for stopping by. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave us a comment if you have any questions.